Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Sudis Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Sudis. That's right, friends. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis, financial advisor and the founder of Sudis Financial, right here in California. Dale Sudis. Oh, come on. Just because I say his name?
Yeah.
Pipe down. Pipe down, everybody. Dale, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Spike?
Good. You're on with financial advisor Dale Sudis, the founder of Sudis Financial. We talk about income strategies, retirement strategies, health strategies, Social Security strategies, all that and more. But for some reason, Dale, you wanted to take me back to the doctor's office. Why? I remember, I think we told our listeners that you did have a surgery recently. What happened? What was the last 10 weeks like for you?
Lobotomy. No.
Oh, thank goodness.
No, I put it off for 3 years. My left shoulder was, I guess they call it a frozen shoulder or whatever. And I put it off. And finally I went and the doctor I went to, it's like a machine. You go in, you know, step by step, you go through the process and they narrow down, this is, what you need and this is how we're going to do it. And this will fix it. And so I've been going through the process. I'm 10 weeks past it and feeling really good with, being able to move the shoulder, looking forward to getting back into swinging a golf club better, things like that. So, and I thought about it with, I've had a lot of people when they finally come in, they said, I've been listening to your show for a long time. And I thought, well, I'm going to go in and see what it's like. Well, we're not going to send you under the x-ray machine or send you out to get an MRI like they did with me. But anyway, we've got it dialed in to what we know what to ask. That's our specialty. It's like this particular doctor, he has his specialty. So you don't go there for a lobotomy, obviously, but you don't go there for other types of problems. He focuses on shoulders and I think knees. So, and he's, very good at it. So, likewise with us, we're focused on how to help people know that in retirement, their money and their income will last, keep up with inflation and all of those things that worry people. You're hurting because, have we saved enough? Or all these kinds of things. Are we taking too much risk? Or will I be able to just make withdrawals from my accounts? Will my money last doing that? All these kinds of things. People are like, and just come in. We make it easy. We get acquainted. And in fact, I've had several say, well, sitting down here with you is just like hearing you on the radio because I don't know how to be any different anyway. But we have a good time and we get acquainted. I just find out, what are your priorities? If you're already retired or you're getting closer to retirement, what do you really want to do? And we focus in on how to make sure you're able to do all those fun things you want to do.
Yeah, let me go back a little bit, Dale. I want to go back into your psychology here because I do enjoy talking about the behavioral finance, all of the triggers that we have ourselves, our blind spots that we don't realize. You said you've been putting it off for 3 years. So was this more based on difficult, you got a busy life, you got too many things going on, you just didn't have the time for it because you knew you needed a recovery time? B, was this fear of the unknown? You didn't know how painful it was going to be? Was this because of cost? You weren't sure what was going to be covered? What made you wait over 3 years being in pain?
Well, going in for surgery, if you see my story on my website, the little 4-minute video about what I went through as a child, I've been under the knife before many times in different ways. So I wasn't anxious to go in and have surgery again. It was fear of the pain and the recovery, what it's going to limit me to, a lot of unknowns, really. And once, in fact, I had a physical trainer who, made it a lot better, but he kept saying, you need to get this thing checked out, get an x-ray. And I finally went and did it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, wow, okay, this is great, especially now. And I'm enjoying the process, and I'm looking forward to being able to get back to doing more of what I like doing.
Could that be similar for many of our listeners out there as well? They've had previous painful experiences with money, with financial advice, or doing it on their own, and they had painful results,
Yeah.
and they don't want to do it because like, I've tried doing this before and it was terrible.
Right. No, I've actually, years ago, I'm trying to think, many years ago, I had somebody come in, and it's got to be over 10 years ago, and they moved in from out of state. They're helping their daughter. They're the daycare, so their family doesn't have to spend all that money on daycare, and they love being with the grandkids. And because of fear of the stock market, they moved everything to the bank, which basically they retired and they made their money retired. Their money's going backwards in retirement. It's not making anything, which wasn't the greatest. So I showed them some tools they could use that even provided safety and good returns without the stock market risk, because that was their, priority. So, others come in with the concern about, will my income last? I need more than just Social Security, or I need a little bit more than just my pension. So we set up tools that can provide additional income. So a lot of times people are afraid because they've had bad experiences. Oh, I lost a lot of money, or the tool that somebody put us in doesn't work. I actually had somebody recently come in, and unfortunately, somebody put all their money into annuities, which annuities aren't bad, but what was bad is they put all their money in it, and without really looking at the whole picture and what the people, what the couple needed. And we actually had to take steps with the state, Department of Insurance to correct that problem. They got their money back without penalty and all that, but still, that wasn't proper for them. So they needed liquidity, and you can't just tie all your. So people are having bad experiences, and of course that's or they hear of others, and that shies them away. So again, when we work together, we're going to find out your priorities. You're going to understand exactly, if there's anything that needs to be done, how it can be done, the tools, and you will understand the whole enchilada before we even let you work with us.
Was there a sense of relief after putting this off for 3 years, after trying little therapy on your own and doing things, maybe not the first appointment, but throughout the process, did you just feel better that you finally had somebody handling it and walking you through the process?
Well, yes, absolutely. It was still scary up till the time going in, days leading up to the surgery, because again, if
what were you scared of? Were you afraid they were going to cut your arm off?
That's what I'm going to say. No, that's what I was going to say. If you've seen my little video on the website, I do have some limitations a little bit with my legs. So I use my arms more than the average person. I push off a bit. So I was afraid, if I couldn't use that arm, am I going to be able to, handle that, getting in and out of the car or whatever, just different things. So fortunately, I had a client who had both shoulders done, and swore by the process, same doctor, and it was really good because he gave me the courage to just go through it. And right after, in recovery, I was able to do whatever I needed. I could get up and down and do. I was just amazed.
Really?
I was like, wow! And I can lift my arm up above my head, and just different stuff that
so
was.
10 weeks later, do you have a huge sense of relief now? In fact, enjoying what you have right now? And similarly, how many times have you had people come in and say, I'm worried about my retirement. I don't know if I saved enough. I don't know if I did it right. And after a couple months, 3 months, you put the plan together. How do they feel?
Oh, exactly. They're elated. It takes the pressure off. Yeah. Same with me. I mean, I'm happy. I'm progressing. Like I said, today I finally was able to start swinging the golf club a little bit, where I was told not to up until now. So that was good. I can't hit the ball because that might hurt the shoulder.
Well, let's be honest,
I'm getting
Dale.
closer.
Let's be honest. You couldn't hit it that well beforehand.
I would.
Wouldn't it be great if all of a sudden you start hitting it down the middle of the fairway and you start
always
chipping
hit it down the middle. That's where I always hit it down the middle.
I know, but a putter always hits it down the middle of the fairway. We got to get you on some of the bigger clubs, Dale.
Anyway, going back to the more important, a lot of times, yes, people come in worried about, did I save enough? Or,
Mm-hmm.
am I, the way I have things for what we want to do, can I retire without worrying about money? And it's so nice to show them, a plan. And I point out to people, if with this plan, you implement a plan that now you have guaranteed lifetime income with your Social Security and or pensions that will keep up with inflation or even possibly beat inflation, and it will last as long as you live to pay the bills, to do the fun things you want to do. We call that the play check, and when the play stops, that income can be used to keep you out of a nursing home. In other words, a paycheck, play check, care check, right?
Mm-hmm.
As we talk about. If your income plan is set that way and your money will last, your income will last, and you only had to use a little bit of your retirement savings to make that part of your plan solid. Now, your other money, you could, play the stock market. You could do what you want. In other words, you got more flexibility, but that takes a big load off of people's minds when they know that their money will last.
When you've got that
that's the whole
baseline.
point.
I'm being
Yeah.
careful when you say play the stock market. As long as it's not affecting your plan, your ability to retire,
Right.
your spouse, you got it. I call that like the Friday night poker money. If you've got those bucks that you can go ahead and lose all of it, and it's not going to change your lifestyle, then
Right.
then you've got that baseline set.
And you said it perfectly, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Your income is what maintains your lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what maintains your lifestyle.
Yeah. Let's get a plan together. And folks, if you take anything away from this story, it's not that Dale's a surgeon. It's not that his golf game is going to get better. It's that we understand why you've put things off. There's so many hundreds of thousands, millions of Americans just like yourself listening to the program. I don't want to think about this. It's too complicated. I'll do it later. Oh my God, it's going to be painful. How much more is it going to cost me? Folks, we totally understand. If you've been listening for a while, hopefully you're getting the message. There's no cost to sit down with Dale. There's no pain point. It's a conversation, and hopefully we want to improve your life. It might take a few weeks. It might take a couple of months of some planning, putting some pieces together. But let's get started now, not later. Call the phone number, 833-856-1382. We have team members standing by who will take your appointment and set a time for you to sit down with Dale and his team. More with Dale Sutis, financial advisor, right after this.
Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. We believe that with proper planning, you can work towards making your money last as long as you do. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Sutis and the team at Sutis Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382.
Call Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial and retire your way. 833-856-1382. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sutis of Sutis Financial. I would say a lot of folks would agree with the fact that retirement today does not seem to be, I want to say, as simple as it was 30 or 40 years ago. I think of my grandfathers paying off the house. I'll bet you they got 5 or 6 paper bills that came to the house in total. Now we have subscriptions, we got all this online stuff, got different tools, and more importantly, we are living longer than we ever have before. Dale, would you agree that you think retirement is different today than it was 3 or 4 decades ago?
Well, yes, it's a lot different. Even the planning we do today compared to 30 plus years ago is a bit different. The same principles, you still need income to maintain that lifestyle. So it's, but there's many other moving parts, and even more so, we have to, look at the taxes and longevity, like you just brought out, that, people living longer magnifies other potential problems like inflation and like taxes going up and so on. So or stock market risk, because if you live longer, all of those things, you have more chance of that affecting your money, your lifestyle, things like that.
Yeah, it totally different. The different tools today. I mean, we still get our
Mhm.
Social Security, but here's the other thing: is I don't even think back in the early 1980s, maybe even late 1970s, my grandfathers were retiring. I don't think they were planning on 30 years of retirement. You know, we've got to stretch out that retirement savings a lot longer. And here's the other thing: I know that both of my grandfathers had pensions. I don't think people are being able to put that into their retirement planning nearly as much as you used to, even a couple of decades ago. Is that true as well? Or
Oh,
do you
yeah,
see a lot of
exactly.
at least government employees or state employees who do have pensions?
Well, yeah, we do have state government employees that have pensions, but it's getting fewer and fewer amongst the people out there that, most of them are now shifting to the defined uh, contribution programs, which is like a 401k, 403b, things like that. So companies are getting away from that. And really, if people want to understand this, what we call the America's retirement experiment, just ask us for a copy of the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie. It's free to you. You'll own it. You'll be able to watch it multiple times if you want. But it really highlights this problem with pensions and 401ks and all that shifting that's been going on for quite a while.
Yeah. And, this also goes back all the way, I guess, to 1978 when you think of, the introduction, I guess, of 401ks. There's a couple of
Hmm.
different things out there, and we are not going to go this deep into the weeds, but there was the Revenue Act of 1978. And there was a guy, I believe it was Ted Benna, I think I mentioned it before, who kind of discovered the 401k loophole. But that's
Yeah,
kind of what,
he's the one. Yeah.
yeah, was that the right name? Because it's in one of the movies
I
that you
think
discussed,
so.
right?
It's even that the trailer, the 2-minute trailer
Hmm.
to the Baby Boomer movie is on my website, Sudis.com. And yeah, he does talk about he was the one who created the first 401k plan with the government. And I was guilty, I have to say, probably 15 years ago at least, of telling people throw as much money into your retirement plans at work. Save, lower your taxes today. When you retire, you have less income, and you take that money out and less taxes, and that's very um, inaccurate. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
More
Yeah.
and more people end up paying more taxes in retirement when they pull that money out versus ones who, on one hand, I can count how many people over the years who've been able to take money out of their IRAs, their company sponsored plans, they rolled over to an IRA in their retirement and not pay as much tax as when they were working. Because you got to figure, you have your Social Security, you have your pensions, and maybe you have rental income or whatever other income you have.
Hmm.
When you take money out of those tax deferred accounts like IRAs, 401ks and such, that income is on top of everything else. So whatever you've now pushed your tax brackets up to is, it's taxed at the highest rate, and it pushes more and more of your Social Security to the taxable column, which for most people, they're going to be at the max anyway, because we need more income nowadays than we did 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, Dale, as a financial advisor, as a retirement income specialist, this is a really important conversation. Something you said a couple of minutes ago, I want to highlight for the listeners out there, that this landscape, we were told back in the late 1970s, early 1980s, hey, save into this retirement account because your taxes will probably be lower when you get to your retirement years because you're not going to have a big income. But that was at a time when tax rates were much, much higher. And they've come
Oh, yeah.
down over a 3-decade period. And we're at one of the, I think, third lowest, fourth lowest, somewhere around there, tax brackets, total tax bracket in U.S. history. And as you say at your live events, we'll tell people how they can get scheduled for one of those. When you ask, do you think taxes are going to go down? What's the response, Dale?
They say, "Oh yeah, it's going to go to zero." No, no, they all realize. I mean, the national debt's through the roof, and if you hear 34, 35 trillion, that's not the real debt. It's over 200, I think, to over 215
Yeah, you say,
trillion or
yeah.
more.
So what Dale is talking about, you can go to the
Yeah, so
usdebtclock.org, I think, and you'll see
yeah,
right away, you'll see those red numbers just ticking and ticking and ticking. But on the bottom right is what you call the unfunded debt, I think is what you're talking about. And it's like
right. The
200
government
trillion.
the government is the only entity that doesn't subscribe to what's called the GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. Everybody else has to include all their unfunded liabilities and all that, whereas the government doesn't include that on what they call.
Oh, sweet. So they get to write the rules for themselves.
Well, yeah. So the upper left corner, when you see that screen, shows, what they call the debt, 35 trillion. But when you look at the bottom right corner, it says unfunded, and I think it's closing in on 218 trillion, really. Regardless of that, the
Wow,
point
making
is,
everybody feel good today.
yeah, but
It's the feel
what I
good show.
point out, yeah, every other month we have our workshop at Fresno State, and you listeners are welcome to look at the website for
Oh,
our next
yeah.
one coming up, or call in and reserve a seat. And it's interesting because one of the slides I talk about, would you rather pay tax on 155,000 or on $1 million? And what do you think everybody says?
Well, I would rather pay tax on 155,000.
Right.
Okay.
But see, by what I was telling
I was
people
trying
and
to
what
tell if it was a trick
people are,
question. I'm like, duh.
I know it's a dub, but guess
Okay.
what? Guess what? Like I said, guilty I was 15 plus years ago, as are many people being told now. Lower your taxes today while you're working, and in retirement you pay less. But the math is, at age 35, you throw 5,000 a year into some tax deferred IRA, 401k, whatever, and you do that all the way through 65. You didn't pay tax on that 5,000 per year. You add it up, you save tax on 155,000. And if you had an average growth of 7%, you have over $500,000 at age 65. And then today, at age 73, you have to start taking out your minimum, RMD, required minimum distributions. And you do that, and let's say you live through, 85, 88, whatever, you've taken out about $500,000, and you paid tax on it when you took it out. And then you die, and it goes to your spouse or your kids, you're still about 600,000 left that's going to be taxed. So you save tax on 155 to ultimately pay tax on over $1 million. And wouldn't it be better? So the coaching I give ones now, and especially for our kids and grandkids, is pay the tax today when you know what tax rates are like. So pay the tax on the 155, let it grow to be $500,000 or $1 million in your future. And now every penny of that, because you're using a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k, every penny of that down the road is tax free. The other thing people don't realize sometimes is, let's say you put your 7,000 or 8,000 a year into a Roth 401k. If you're 50 and over, you can do that 8,000, an extra 1,000. Or you max out your 30,500 if you're 50 plus into a Roth 401k. Whatever you put into the Roth vehicle, you've already paid taxes on. So you can take that money out even before age 59 and a half without any of that 10% penalty, because you've already paid tax on it. So it's, so it still can be available if something really happened, you needed that money. You just can't play with the growth until you're age 59 and a half. So,
yeah. So one of the things that changed, we didn't know this. You didn't know this. Our listeners out there in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, you were saving tax deferred. This was the carrot that they dangled out in front of you to chase after. Hey, the more you save, the more you get to subtract from your taxes that year. They're not saying in the future. So what Dale is saying, I get it. The 150 or $1 million, which would you rather pay taxes on? Well, had we known in the 80s, 90s, I would have been saving into what is known as a Roth 401k, but they were not nearly as prevalent, if at all, back then. But they are now. So do we want to convert?
Important.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's the other part of it. So, our parents' day, it wasn't that big of a deal, apparently. That was pretty much the only method you had to save with, mainly tax deferred. But I have ones I'm working with right now. We're showing them get Uncle Sam out of that retirement account while we know what tax rates are today, and they're fairly low. I just had one recently. We talked, and they're going to convert, over 230,000 of their IRA to a Roth. It's gonna sting. They're gonna probably pay about 75,000 in tax from their other savings. So that whole 230,000 will be a Roth for them to use tax-free down the road. And it's earning a decent amount. So again, there's things you can still do even if you have the tax deferred accounts. We can talk about that.
All right, Dale. Short break here, folks. Call the phone number. We can start you on a tax efficient plan for your retirement, but we've got to review it. If you have mostly saved, like so many millions of Americans, into tax deferred accounts, what are the tax consequences going to be on you in retirement? Let's review that and help you get more tax efficient sooner than later. 833-856-1382 is the phone number to call. Folks are standing by. They'll schedule that appointment for you. You can also go to Sudis.com if you want to come to one of the live events, meet Dale in person, watch his educational live event, and ask him questions afterwards. Go to Sudis.com, Soutas.com, and go to the events page. You can register right there. More with Dale Sudis right after this.
Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Call the team at Sudis Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
For those approaching and in retirement, the perfect economic storm has arrived. The highest inflation in over 4 decades, the end to the 13-year bull run of the stock market, looming increases in tax rates, and rising interest rates all spell trouble for your retirement savings. At Sudis Financial and Insurance Services, our mission is to provide you a clear income path that lasts all the way through your retirement years. Call Dale Sudis and Sudis Financial right now for your own complimentary retirement storm strategy. 833-856-1382.
Retire your way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial, financial advisor himself with an entire team behind him helping you be and stay retired. We got to get Katia Flores back on the microphone as well, but you've got your estate planning friends, your tax friends, your investment asset friends, your annuity and life insurance, all of that. You got a whole team behind you, Dale, including yourself. For how many years? What is it? You've been doing this for 3 or 4 years?
3 or 4 weeks now.
Yeah. How long you been doing it?
I started in the business 85, moved to the Valley in 89, so that's when I became independent. So that's a few weeks, I think.
Just a long time. Since 1985, helping people be and stay retired and helping them untangle their financial knots. And as you say, it isn't so much about the investments or the dollar. Of course, the dollars and everything are important, but for you, it's what do you want that retirement to look like? What do you want to do? Those are usually the first questions you ask, right?
The hardest question people have to answer. It's really because think about it, you're working. What do you enjoy doing even now in your spare time, on your weekends and stuff? Maybe it's just getting away, a little traveling, thrift stores. Maybe you have hobbies or golf or bowling or whatever. Well, what do you want to do or do more of once you are able to stop working? And if the money's dialed in, you've got the income to do what you want when you want, what would you be doing or doing more of? Please think about those things, because that's really the enjoyment of helping people when they set up their retirement, seeing them do all these things. There's a few that I can think of. I can't get them to spend money. And it cracks me up. I said, well, what do you like to do? Well, I like this and that. And they've got gobs, that technical financial term of money. And so, but they, but they're happy, maybe they don't need to do tons of things, but if there are things you really want to do, we love helping you find ways to do them and do more of it.
Absolutely. That's what we do here. That's what Dale and the team do at Sudis Financial, is help you be and stay retired. That's the question we want to ask you. What do you want retirement to look like? If you had 7 days a week, every week off, what do you want to do? That's, I think, one of the harder questions for people to answer. So let us help you with that.
In fact, just even within this past year, I've had, I could say at least a half dozen that say, well, I would really like to do more traveling. and I want to go see this and that across the country or out of the country or whatever. And I said, well, okay, so how much roughly would the two of you need to spend on a trip? And let's say they said 10,000, okay? And maybe a couple trips a year. And then I build their plan out and I show them, well, guess what? You could do at least 4 trips a year without running out of money. You know, in other words, they have more options. Not that they have to take 4 trips, but what if they would like to take more trips?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. So let's
a
figure
real
that
joy
out,
to help.
and let's
Yes.
figure that out together. We were talking about the retirement toolbox. What kind of tools do you have in there? And a lot of people start out, of course, with that 401k. Are you using that efficiently? It can be a good tool, a strong tool, a sturdy tool, but are you using the first ones that you ever started off with? Have you reviewed them? I also then want to move into some of the more maybe exotic tools. What about things outside of the 401k? Some of those tools down those further aisles. Again, some tools can be really effective, but they can be really complicated and they can be expensive. What about outside tools to help you be retired? Insurance, annuities, are there types of annuities, opportunities to change your older tools? Do you like to use some of these alongside retirement with the 401k?
Well, yes. There's a lot of different tools ones can use. And I like coaching, especially the younger ones or the ones who are retiring now, coach their families, their children, and maybe grandchildren, how to use properly structured life insurance, not only to provide, for their loved ones if something happens to them, but more importantly, how to use it as a vehicle for tax-free retirement income. There's some excellent tools out there. Plus, a lot of these, more up-to-date modern life insurance policies provide additional living benefits. For instance, you and your spouse, you have life insurance with the XYZ company. And a lot of them will allow you, while you're alive, to use that tax-free death benefit for things such as a terminal illness, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's say you have $500,000 death benefit. A lot of the companies allow you to use up to 75% of that tax-free for whatever you want if you're deemed to have a terminal illness. So then you just go finish all the bucket list or whatever you want to do, right? Or what about a critical illness, heart attacks, strokes, renal failure, things of that sort. There's various amounts you could get. But even more importantly, if you get to a point where you need help, so you have a chronic illness where you need help getting up and down or, in and out of the restroom or bathing, dressing, things of that sort, long-term care issues. A lot of them allow you to use even up to 25% of that death benefit per year to keep yourself at home, pay for in-home care. So, 25% of $500,000 would be a chunk of money, wouldn't it? $125,000 a year. If I did the math right in my head real quick. But anyway, so, there's some tools like that can give you extra benefits. Life insurance no longer is used just to leave money, for your loved ones. There's a lot of neat aspects to life insurance nowadays.
And how do you know, I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, but for our listeners out there, is there different kinds of insurance that help you do that? I know a lot of different ones talk about accumulation, but are there ones that you prefer and ones that you don't prefer?
Well, they all have their place. I mean, a young couple, they need life insurance to protect their family in case, the husband dies. He's the main breadwinner and they've got this mortgage. So, maybe you do get a term policy for $1 million, that costs very little. Term is like renting. Sometimes we, have people that get a whole life policy. It costs more, but that's like buying compared to renting a home and buying a home. You pay more, but eventually you could stop paying and it has some equity built up into it and it stays or keeps going your whole life. There's a variation also that's called a universal life, and there's some neat tools with indexed universal life. So you can have the growth of your money in the pot based on, an index strategy where you're not risking a penny on the market, but you can take the upside of the market and not the downside. And, not to confuse people, but that they have their place. But with those, we tend to show people how to max fund, put excess money into them up to whatever IRS allows you to. So now that money grows, and the growth is more eventually than the cost of insurance. So, that one you can keep indefinitely, but you can also access money from the pot of money tax-free. So there's some neat tools like that with life insurance.
Okay. And you can help folks evaluate that, see what tools they have. Because what I've also noticed is that there are a lot of companies out there that will offer life insurance while you work there. You can put in a few dollars and the company matches as well. But are those kinds of life insurances, are those as portable? Like, can you bring those with you, or do you have to pay more to bring them with you, or is it better to get your own insurance on the outside?
It's better to get your own. I mean, that's a nice benefit, but if you stop working there, you don't have it.
Okay. So to keep things moving along, you want to make sure that you've got your own policy on the outside.
Exactly.
Okay. And you also had mentioned annuities. We talked about that a little bit before, but do you want to start something like an income providing, long-term care rider providing annuity earlier in your career, or is this something where we do wait, where we have a little bit more accumulation? Is this one of those more complex tools that we think about more 50s or 60s?
Yeah, it depends. When people are young, the downside of an annuity is you can't really take money out before 59 and a half. You'll get a 10% penalty.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, I did have a younger couple I'm working with. They're in their mid to late 40s, making very good money, a lot of savings, but they have the goal. He has the goal for them to be able to retire between 55 and 60. So we're actually going to position a former 401k over into one where, in about 9-10 years, if needed or wanting, we can turn on guaranteed income. And the way it projected out was like, close to $80,000 a year guaranteed starting out income for them. So that would be a good tool. In their case, it's a good tool. But for most people, it depends on the whole picture. So there's no cookie cutter method, coming from us. It's just, what do you need? What do you have? What do you want to be doing? And how do we position things so your income will last, keep up with inflation? And I projected out to the women's age 100, if because people are living longer. So if you live to 100 or more, is your money going to last? Is
I've
your
got a
income
story
going to last?
about that when we come back from here. But since 1985, Dale Sudas here, helping you be and stay retired, California. Let's make sure that you've got a plan in place, one that works for you, where you can't run out of money, you're not taking too much risk, maybe even that we can leave some to the next generation. Starts right here with a phone call, 833-856-1382. That call right now will go to the Secure Call Center. We'll have somebody schedule an appointment for you. You're not going to interrupt Dale during the show right now, but if you have more questions, you can write Dale. You can write him at dale@sudas.com. That's Dale and the @ symbol, SOUTAS.com, or go to the website, SOUTAS.com, and click on the events tab so you can schedule yourself, maybe your spouse too, to come see Dale and his entire team live so you can get your financial planning questions answered. More with financial advisor Dale Sudas when we get back right after this.
Do you know how much you might be paying in fees within your retirement accounts? Just 1 or 2% in hidden fees can eat into your savings and potentially hinder your ability to achieve your retirement goals. But how do you know if you're currently paying these hidden fees, and how do you find them? Dale Sudas and the team at Sudas Financial can help you find the fees within your investments and explore solutions designed to assist with minimizing them. Take control of your retirement savings so that you can work towards keeping more of your hard-earned money. Call for your very own complimentary Retire Your Way review and fee finder report. Let us help work towards finding, exposing, and helping to eliminate those potential hidden fees for you. Call Dale Sudas and Sudas Financial today for your complimentary fee review. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Call Dale Sudas and Sudas Financial and Insurance Solutions right now to receive your complimentary tax map with your retirement readiness review. Learn multiple strategies that could protect you from higher taxes now and in the future. Taxes are a threat to your financial stability in retirement, so help protect yourself from the potential threat of rising taxes. Call Dale Sudis and the team at Sudis Financial to receive your complimentary tax map and retirement readiness review. 833-856-1382. Their team will help you navigate the financial waters to pursue your retirement goals. They offer inclusive retirement services such as investment directives for your portfolio, income-producing strategies, and wealth preservation plans for your family and legacy. Call Dale Sudis and the team of Sudis Financial and Insurance Solutions, 833-856-1382 right now for your retirement readiness review, and also receive your complimentary tax map. Strategies to help you keep more of what you've saved in retirement. Or write us at the email address dale@soutas.com.
Retire your way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial, 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial, and today, the Retirement Toolbox. I can remember the first toolbox I got. I even have those tools and that toolbox, but my toolbox has grown. I honestly go back to what you were saying, Dale. My first toolbox was actually my dad's toolbox stuff, and we used to drive my dad crazy because me and my brother, we leave the tools all in the wrong places, and he'd be like, "Where's my stuff?"
Oh, yeah. Get in trouble. Don't touch my tools.
Where's my stuff?
Who moved my tools?
Yeah, who moved it? Because he knew, and he didn't always have the perfectly designed garage, but he knew where his stuff was, even in his own version of mess. And if we moved it, oh boy, we're in real trouble. But
that's where I'm at. My garage looks like a mess, but I know
it's
where my tools are.
It's time for you to clean up your tools, the same thing. And we want people to clean up their financial tools. Now, here's the thing. There can be expensive tools. There can be tools that we don't use very often. There can be tools that can just be overwhelming to somebody. How about those estate planning tools? Do you usually find that in people's retirement toolboxes when they walk in the door?
Most of the time, no. And what is estate planning tools? So, a lot of people, okay, let's make it simple. If you're 18 or older, you should have a minimum of a financial power of attorney. So if you're unable to handle your financial affairs, you're assigning somebody you know and trust to act for you as your agent, okay? You should also have, at a minimum, a healthcare directive. If you're knocked out and they take you to the hospital, whatever, you've got somebody who you know and trust that can speak up for you, to the medical staff to tell them, give them permission to do certain things and stuff. Now, if you own real estate, it's wise to have a living trust. Now, I'm not an attorney, but I know enough with the attorneys I worked with for too many years, that a trust outlives you. That's why they call them living trusts, basically. So let's say mom and dad have this house, and if they both die, they want it to go to their kids. But if you don't have a trust and the house market value, not the equity, not if you have a mortgage and the difference, but the actual market value is $185,000 or higher, it will go to the state, to the probate system. And the state decides who gets your house. And to show you why you don't want the state to handle it, I actually had a little lady probably 18 years ago came to see us, and her mom inherited $91,000. And no problem, okay, that's great. But where did it come from? Oh, it came through probate. Who died? Her ex-husband.
Oh.
So think about it. Do you think the ex-husband wanted, that he wanted his ex-wife to get, that much of his estate? Well, who knows? He's dead. But the state decided, well, we should give some to the ex-wife. So in other words, if you would really want your property, primarily real estate, to go where you want it to go and how you want it to go, then you set up a living trust. Now, mom and dad own the home now, so they're in control. When you set up the mom and dad living trust, mom and dad are the trustees, so they're in control. It doesn't change control by setting up a trust. It's just setting up a tool that outlives you to make sure now the property stays out of the public eye, the state doesn't see it, and it stays a private family matter, and it passes how and where you want it to go. And you don't have to spend 10 arms and 3 legs to set up your estate plan, which is a living trust, financial power of attorney, healthcare directive, your wills, and some other things that the attorneys can explain better. There's attorneys that can set them up with the proper wording and all that. And once you set it up, you can even amend it if you needed to. So those are things we coach people to set up because, again, I mean, none of us want to die, but if something were to happen, how do we make sure our wishes are carried out? Well, we have to have the estate planning documents in place.
These are not often the tools that we find in people's estate planning or in their retirement toolbox on their own, right? Or you usually have to kind of nudge people in the right direction for this stuff.
Well, yeah, even on our initial visits, when we call it a discovery visit, as we're getting acquainted, that's one of the questions we ask. Do you have a living trust? A yes or no. It's sad. Through the years, as you know, one of the things we've been known for is helping families back in the day when you could have no more than 2,000 and get on this nursing home Medi-Cal program. We had to show people how to protect their assets, right? And it's sad when people come in and for their loved one who's not able to handle their financial affairs, they don't have any power of attorney, they don't have a trust, and we can't do anything to protect their assets. They've got to just spend it down because they've never set anything up to give ones the power to act with ones like ourselves or others that can guide them on protecting their estate. So I know of one couple years ago that, I got after them. I said, do you have a trust? Well, no. And they're up there in years. I go, well, why not? Well, I don't need it yet. Well, it's like auto insurance. You don't go buy the insurance after the accident. You get it ahead of time. So you need your legal documents set up now. Don't wait. And it doesn't have to cost a lot. If it's just you don't have real estate, you just need your financial power of attorney, healthcare directive, you're not going to spend very much to get those set up properly. And, even the tip is, let's say you have your spouse is the one acting first for you on money and healthcare. Well, then I want an alternate in case she's unable, let's say. And then I want a second alternate in case that second person's unable. So I like 3 deep, and I recommend one person at a time because when you have 2 people at a time, even though I coach my mom, when you talk to this attorney, set it up this way, one at a time. Well, the attorney has to do what she said. And she said, put, me and my sister on the healthcare and me and one of my brothers on the trust or financial power of attorney, which after she died, he's, one of my brothers in the Bay Area, I'm here, mom's house is here, which really made it a hassle we both had to be involved in, all the paperwork to sell the house and do all those steps. So it's smart to have one person at a time as well. So there's little coaching to help you know how to make it easier for you and your loved ones.
Mm-hmm. What's I think also a simple one right now that we can give to the listeners that they can kind of do on their own, but just to even get them thinking in the right direction, reviewing their beneficiaries. And I know it sounds simple, but when did you start those accounts? Whatever accounts they may, life insurance, annuities, your investment accounts, your bank accounts.
IRAs, 401ks.
When have you reviewed those beneficiaries? Do you find holes in people's estate planning with that alone?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. And be careful too. Oh, I set up a trust and the attorney coached me to get everything in the trust. And I have my 401k, my IRAs all, if we die, it goes to the trust because the trust says it goes to these kids or grandkids or wherever, right? Wrong. So we want to be careful too. Yes, you need your beneficiaries listed properly. If you have checking, savings, CDs, you have investments that are non-retirement, you have, other accounts and such. As long as you've named beneficiaries, they don't go through probate. Now, you can't just write on the side of your house, I want it to go to these kids because somebody can paint over it and put their name on it to be silly about it. But more importantly, you have retirement accounts. If any tax-deferred money, so that could be your 401k, your 403bs, your IRAs. It could be you put money into an annuity and it's grown for years with a lot of tax-deferred interest. Please do not name your trust as beneficiary, okay? Why? Because everything above $15,000 of tax deferred money will be taxed at whatever the highest marginal rate is, which today is 37% and likely to go up down the road. So you want to name beneficiaries. It could be charities, it could be people, and that way the kids, and the other tip is you got 2 kids and you got 4 grandkids. Each of your children have 2 kids. So in this example, instead of 50-50 to the kids, do 48-48 and 1% to each grandchild, which opens a door. If your son or daughter doesn't need that taxable money from your 401k, your IRAs, they can disclaim it to their children without having to pay a penny tax on it first, so they can use it for college or whatever, and pay less taxes on it. So there's some neat strategies. Those are little things we just take you by the hand, and we're going to coach you on. We're going to be asking all those questions, things that you might not be thinking about. Make sure your toolbox has the tools in it properly, and they're ready to go when you need them.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dale. We talked today about the retirement toolbox. We didn't have time to get to what happens when you inherit tools from the family. I remember when I got some of my tools from my grandfather, and the same thing is can we do this efficiently? Do we know exactly how to do it? How do we split it up between the other kids and grandkids? So many conversations we can have about your retirement toolbox that we had some fun with, your 401ks, how to use insurance or annuities properly on the outside, all those estate planning tools, and of course the investment tools. If you're not sure if you have the right tools in your toolbox, you've got some old ones, please call Dale Sudis and the team right here. We will get you started on your discovery meeting. There's no cost to it. We'll find out what tools you have. Are you using them properly? But it starts right now with a phone call, 833-856-1382, or go to Sudis.com, SOUTAS.com. For Dale Sudis, I'm Spike Spangle. Thank you so much for listening. We'll both be back next week.
As a valued radio listener of Retire Your Way, Dale and his entire team of retirement professionals invite you to schedule your very own complimentary retirement plan review session. 833-856-1382 is the number for you to call. If you don't have a retirement strategy mapped out that includes low-fee investment elections, tax minimization strategies, decumulation plans that will last as long as you need them to, then call for your very own retirement review session, complimentary for our valued radio listeners. Are you able to lower your taxes in retirement? Are you unclear about your Social Security, Medicare, investment fees and risk, or how to produce guaranteed lifetime income so your lifestyle and goals don't have to be changed with the ups and downs of the market or taxes? Call Dale Sudis with Sudis Financial and be confident you can retire your way. Schedule your own comprehensive and complimentary retirement review session. Don't just live in retirement, thrive. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal and tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies.